You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron, live with Ethan Haristodoulou.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Greeks Gridiron. I am Ethan Haristodoulou. It is February 18th, 2022, and today we are going over the uniform reveals for the USFL. This is kind of like almost like an announcement, I guess, per se, that I will be covering the USFL as they kick off their inaugural season this year. I figured, and if you were around for the early part of this podcast last year, we pretty much started at the end of the playoffs. We started with the championship games last year. I covered briefly the NIL. I also covered, for the majority of the season, the fan-controlled football league, and then obviously not much has happened with the FCF since then. NIL, I just had a hard time following along with it. It did not really interest me because it's not vastly different than what the NFL does. It's just arena football, not really for me in my opinion. But the FCF was a lot of fun to cover. I plan on covering that whenever they have their next season. I'm hoping that's sooner rather than later. But this is my announcement for the USFL and how we will be covering it as they go through their first season. I'm a very big more football is good for football guy. And, watching the Alliance of American Football fold and then the XFL have to fold because of the pandemic and poor management, I want to see semi-pro leagues or even just smaller leagues thrive during the NFL offseason, because I think it'll be good for these players that necessarily don't get the chance that you would get in the NFL because there's only so many roster spots they can fill. And I love football, and I love seeing football go on at all times of the year, so this is exciting for me. I'm really looking forward to it, and also the fact that there's deep history with the USFL is rather exciting, so it'll be interesting to see how this year unfolds for them. So without further ado, make sure you hit that like button, hit that sub button, because we'll be following the USFL as we roll through the NFL's offseason. And let's talk the uniforms. I'll just go through all 8 of them. No specific order, really. I'm just kind of rattling them off as I have them organized here. I will show you guys on screen what they look like as well. To my left here, your guys' right. So the first team we are discussing will be the Tampa Bay Bandits. They have a red, black, and silver kind of color scheme going on there. First things first, I'm not a big fan of the Bandits name. The Bandits makes me think of like, if you've ever played Madden or NCAA football, when you create your own team, the Bandits is like one of those team names that's in there that you can just use for. It feels like a default type of name, and I'm not a big fan of it. However, I will say their uniforms are nice. They're very clean. I like the color scheme. The silver and the red go well together with like the black accents. I'm a really big fan of that. I like the color and the look of it all. So despite the fact that I'm not really a big fan of the actual team names themselves, I think they did a really good job with the uniforms. So this is a team that, despite me not really liking the name, and I was kind of put off by it at first, seeing the way they look, I am a fan. I think they look nice. Next team up, we are looking at the New Orleans Breakers, and I'll just come out and say it right now. This is probably my favorite uniform set of them all, rivaling only one other team. The Breakers, the blue and white, maybe I'm biased because blue is my favorite color, but this blue and white color scheme looks awesome. I like the way the helmets look, the design on there, the swoosh that they have with the wave looks really cool to me in my opinion. The away uniforms look really nice. I like the white with just the dark blue accents everywhere and a slight bit of the lighter blue there that I don't know if you call that Carolina blue, whatever you may call it there, but I'm a really big fan of these uniforms. I like the white helmets going with the blue jerseys. I think that looks really clean as well, and maybe because I'm a Colts fan, I'm also biased to that. That might be the reason why, but I really like the look of this. I'm a fan of the team name and everything like that. It feels different. It's not, it doesn't feel like a default team name you'd find in your create a team mode. So I'm a really big fan of what the Breakers have going on here. This is probably my favorite set of the uniforms, and I'll mention the other one that is my favorite as well, but this one does it for me right here. I don't know who I'm going to root for in the USFL, but if I'm just going off of uniforms alone, I'd probably end up being a New Orleans fan, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. Next up, we're looking at the Houston Gamblers, and the only thing I can think of when I see this uniform is just tough. I like the look of it. The dark black with like the accented, it's like an iron type of blue. It's because it's not silver, but it's not too blue, but it's still close. There's still like a silver tone to it. This looks really cool. and then the very slight accent of the orange into it really wraps it all together. But this is also one of the, like, if I was naming a top 3, this is probably my number 3 one right here. I like it. It looks tough. It looks aggressive. And black uniforms, I feel, are hard to pull off just because it's a neutral color and you usually just pair it with white. But they did a really good job having that like bluish silver type of pants color to go with it. And when I saw the logo for this team and I thought, okay, black, orange, what are they going to do with the uniforms here? I don't really I feel like that just, it looks clashy to me. And I think they did an excellent job here. The fact that they didn't really make orange the like main secondary color on the uniforms, that actually kind of takes like a third role to the color scheme, looks really nice. I'm a big fan of this. And if you see the guy with the black visor on right there, like kind of sticking out in front of the 2 smaller characters there, I am all for the way this looks. This is mean. It looks tough. It's fearful. You know, it brings the heat. I'm definitely a fan of what the Gamblers got going on. The next one, we have the New Jersey Generals. I don't like this team name. Not a big fan of it. Also, the uniforms, it's like I'm not a real big fan of these ones. Red is so overdone in sports, I feel like, and the red and white here just feels like a lower grade Chiefs. Like the Chiefs at least have like a secondary accent color to it, whereas they're just like red, white, and black. So I'm not really too big of a fan of them. And also their color scheme is the red, the gold. So maybe they were trying to stay away from looking too much like the Chiefs, and I understand that, but also, I don't know. It just kind of looks like a knockoff lower grade Chiefs uniform. So I'm not really big on their uniform setup, to be honest with you guys. It's not very creative. It doesn't look, it's just a red jersey, white pants, and then all white with the red stripe there. I don't know. It just doesn't really work too much for me. So this is probably one of the bottom of the 8 teams here. If I was to rank them somewhere like 6 or 7, something like that. Not a really big fan, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? I'm not a fan of the Generals name either. And I know that a lot of these teams are like historical team names and stuff like that. Like the whole idea of the USFL bringing it back was to keep the like history there intact. I get that. I understand that. New Jersey Generals just doesn't really do it for me. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Maulers. And this one I feel like has gotten the biggest reaction on social media because every single Pittsburgh team is black and gold. You have the Pirates, you have the Pittsburgh Penguins, you have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, black and gold is like the Pittsburgh color scheme. But I guess from what I've read, it is that the Pittsburgh Maulers color scheme was purple and orange. I don't know how I feel about this uniform. Purple and orange is such like the color scheme, especially the purple they're using, like screams. You can almost hear the colors on these uniforms. They're fine. I like the away uniform more than I like the home. The purple on orange just throws me off, but like the white on purple with the away scheme, I really, really like, and I like the accent of the orange that goes along with it. I wish that there was less orange in the home uniforms. I don't like the like orange shoulder pad look that they have going on there. Maybe if they just went for some more subtle striping, it would look cleaner to me. I love the helmet. I think the helmet looks really nice. It's just like that orange shoulder pad look. This is also something that reminds me of back when in like the, I don't know, like the late 2000s Madden games when you were creating uniforms, there was a setup similar to this, and it doesn't look good to me. I know the Cardinals have something similar to this, or have had something similar to this with their uniform scheme where they had like the white on the red going across there. That looks fine, and the purple on white looks good too. Just the home uniforms don't do it for me. I like the away ones. I like the helmet style. The single stripe over the top with the logo there. I'm a big fan of it all. I kind of wish, because they were a Pittsburgh team, maybe they just slapped the logo on one side as like a call to the Steelers, but it is what it is. The uniforms are so-so. I'm not a big fan of the home ones. I do like the away ones, though. Next up, we got the Michigan Panthers, and this one feels like the Florida State Seminoles to me, but I do like the way they look. I think it's a very clean design. I like the nice light blue accent that goes along with it. I was kind of curious how they would, put all of these colors together, because you had like the, I don't know, like a cream color, I guess you would call it. I don't really know. And then you have like the burgundy, and then you have this light blue accent that was going on in the logo there. So I was curious to see how they'd incorporate all the colors here. I like the way it looks, though. The red face masks are really nice. The nice like shiny gold helmet is really good. big fan of that. Not the uniform, excuse me, the logo itself being outlined the way it is on the helmet looks really good too. I like the red on the cream that they have there with the home uniforms. I don't know why some of these should like depict the away uniforms and some of them don't, but I am a fan of the way this looks here. I think it looks nice. It looks clean, simple look, nothing too flashy. And again, it looks similar to like other uniforms you see, whether it's in the pros or in the college ranks. So it looks nice. It fits the mold. Next up, we're looking at the Birmingham Stallions, and this is probably my second favorite uniform setup here. One, because I'm very partial to the Stallions, entire namesake and logo setup and everything. I really like the way it looks. This uniform, I like the big thick stripe going over the helmet there with the red face mask and the gold helmet again. I think this looks really good. This is also like similar style to the Seminoles here. And the color scheme looks really nice. I'm a really big fan of the way this looks. It looks classic football, but brought into 2022. I like the logo style, and again, I'm partial to the whole Stallions thing. I think I'm a really big fan of that. I like the way it looks. This is an excellent uniform design in my opinion. It's simple, yet looks like football, but also has a nice, like, it's brought into the future. Classic football brought into the future. I'm a really big fan of it. And then lastly, but not least, of course, we have the Philadelphia Stars and their uniform. I am not a big fan of this red and yellow setup here. It looks, again, another one of those setups that like screams and you can hear it and it's just a color. I don't like the way this is set up. It looks like ketchup and mustard. If you've ever seen like Hardee's or Arby's, that's what it looks like to me. I'm sorry, Hardee's and Carl Jr.'s. That's like what it looks like to me. I can't get past that. Maybe McDonald's too. It's too, the red and the yellow is way too bright. And again, red is so overdone, and paired with yellow, also kind of overdone as well. It's like some different shade of red and yellow in some capacity. I also don't really understand the like tire mark stripe that they have going over the top there. I don't know. I mean, maybe because the logo, like the star, it's coming out and it has like the streaks to it. They wanted to represent that on the helmet. Maybe that's what it is. I'm not a really big fan of this. This is probably my least favorite uniform of them all. I really cannot get past the ketchup and mustard look that they have. It does not appeal to me, and it does not look good. I'm not a big fan. But that is all of the uniform reveals for the USFL. Their draft is going to be next week, February 22nd. So make sure you guys check that out if you are interested. They will be drafting from a pool of players. I will obviously be watching that, and we'll be discussing that after it happens. Looking forward to it. Very excited to have something else to talk about besides the NFL as we roll through the offseason here. Gives me more content ideas to bring out to you guys and bring in more and more people. But that is pretty much it for my video today. I appreciate you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of the uniforms in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys next time.